Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine and an old dirt road. Are you ready to go? Thanks, everybody, for joining us today on Live Music Nation podcast. I'm your host, Jake Gill. We are with Theris Coates, STLR Entertainment, artist representative and promotion specialist. Theris, thanks for being on with us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about your agency and your background.
Oh, okay. This agency is born out of another agency effort in 1999. Well, let me just back up just a little bit, just say that I've been in this entertainment business as long as I can remember, as a performer, as an a cappella artist. Since I have a family of 8 brothers and 8 sisters, and we found things to do. And one of those things was to start a group called the Coates Singers, and our idol was the Persuasions.
There you go.
And the first time I met them, I had an opportunity to perform with them, and they asked me, would you represent us? I had never, ever represented anyone, or just all I did is just book us. And so it started TLC Productions in 1999. And I worked with that as an artist management company until I got a diagnosis for cancer. And I continued to work as long as I could, and then I stopped. But then my oldest son, who's a super engineer and my best friend, said, why don't you go back into the business? And you love it. And so we came up with this STLR, or STLR Entertainment Company, in 2015. And we officially launched it in 2016 as an artist cooperative, which is, we're not actually managing any artists. We are working with artists because we are artists for artists. Very
cool. Very, very cool. Very cool. So what was COVID like for you guys?
At first, disastrous. I just recently received something, a text message that described exactly what COVID was like for us. And it just so happens that it came up. And if you permit me, I'll read it. It's 15 seconds. It's called Thursday's Thought for the Day. And it says, what you fear reveals what you value the most. And what you fear reveals where your trust in God least is.
There you go.
Right. And so that kind of sums up what COVID was to us, because we were developing STLR, all the right things. We were doing all the right things, business model, business plan, all this. And we started connecting with all of my old contacts from TLC, and we started to get contracts. In the beginning of COVID, the year before, we obtained 9 contracts, and which was huge for us. It was just a small company, and COVID came and just took all of those away. Right. And we did get fearful, but I love entertainment, and I know that entertainment is absolutely necessary. So we changed what we did, and COVID taught us a lot of things. It helped us learn that we could do everything that other people could do to provide value to the entertainment industry without sacrificing. So COVID scared us and taught us.
What were some of the things that evolved out of the changes you had to make through COVID that you're going to continue to implement post-COVID?
Well, one of the biggest things that evolved out of that was that I learned a little bit about serving more people.
Okay.
Right. Before COVID, it was just, you send your artists out there, you put up all the bills, and you perform, you promote, you place them, and who comes, right? They're fans and whatever. But now, with COVID, one of the things that changed us is that now we know that there are other people that we were never even considering before COVID, there were still people, the same people like myself, immune compromised people who were like, I'm staying home because, and they weren't able to watch like one of the greatest concerts I've ever seen was BB King, right? BB King was at the Concord Pavilion, right? And this guy was so masterful. They had an opening band, and he decided that band wasn't up to par. And he just walked out on the stage and said, "Hey, y'all ready for some blues?" Right?
Oh
And
man.
so, but the key that I'm trying to point is that during before COVID, we didn't serve people who couldn't get to the concert. Like if I couldn't have bought a ticket, I would have just heard about it or read about it the next day. But now, it taught us that we should have been serving all these people all the time.
Makes good sense. Makes good sense. Very good sense. So let's have a little fun real quick. You've already talked about BB King. Who are your top 3 concerts all time that you've seen?
Well, we talked about BB King, but I got another one. I was a teenager, 1971. I was getting ready. I was a senior, I think, in high school. And there was a concert at the Fillmore West in San Francisco. And I actually didn't know who was playing, right? But as a group of boys, we decided we're going to go down there and see if we can't, excuse me for saying this, but sneak in.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We snuck into this concert, and we went head to head with Aretha Franklin and Ray Charles.
Oh, wow.
And they were live at the Fillmore West. And we ended up front row seats. And I can remember I was so starstruck.
Oh, man.
I couldn't, it was no words for it. And then my other one, my third one, I cut school, 1969, and I lived in San Francisco. And so I wanted to see hippies. And, watch them and experience them, smoking herb and just having, free love. And they had a place called Hippie Hill in the Haight-Ashbury, and musicians gathered there and played, right?
Right.
That particular day, guess who was there? Sly Stone.
Really?
Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, wow.
And Santana. And they were just giving a free concert. And but at the time now, let me preface this with this, I didn't really know how blessed I was. I just love music. But those are the 3 things that happened to me.
Those are amazing, right place at the right time experiences. That's awesome. Very cool. Congratulations on those. God was watching out for you, man.
Yes. Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit. This is always my favorite question to ask: is dead or alive? If you could share the stage with one artist, who would it be?
Oh wow! If dead or alive, if I could share the stage with Lou Rawls, I mean, that was when I was studying music in high school, and he was the person that inspired me the most. I discovered he had this song that a lot of people never really heard, but I didn't hear it until one day I was performing with a group called Imani, and the guy asked me, "Do you know If I Were a Magician?" And I was like, "Well, no." And he started playing it for me. But anyway, Lou Rawls was everything that I thought my voice was. I loved his voice. And you could just hear him say, "If I were a magician, I would make him disappear." And anyway, that's the guy that if I could have performed with him, I think that would have been the number one person.
That's awesome. That's so cool. That's so cool. All right, let's talk to the young musician, the young artist out there. You've watched things evolve over the past 20, 30 years. If you were advising the youngster out there who wanted to get started in music, what's some of the top advice you would give them?
Well, I had really got to think about that because, the top one is that I advise them to make sure they have a clear understanding of the entertainment business, right? And the difference between being the performer and being in charge, right? And I'll say that because with the Persuasions, my first group, they had all these albums out, and I just thought they should be the richest people in the world. And I found out they didn't own anything, right? They did not own it. So I would say the top thing, what I would say, you need to understand the music business. Need to understand what the pulse of the music will meet, what pulse of the music will meet the fans and yourself, right? You got to know how to balance it. You got to know who your audience is, right? You got to be able to define what an entertainment professional really is, like Sammy Davis Jr., Michael Jackson, Prince. These are entertainers. These are not just music giants, but they're entertainers true. Yeah, I think those were the kind of things I would, any of these new artists that are coming up, and a lot of them understand it already. You know, you look at 50 Cent and Jay-Z, and they understand that you need to be savvy, right?
Very good advice. What type of artists, what type of groups are you and your agency looking to help and cooperate with?
We are looking for artists who have developed those same qualities, right? And just haven't been in that right place and the right time, because I do know from my experience that the entertainment business sometimes, or most times, is the right place at the right time. And point in case is that when in 2001, we just happened to be at a Black Expo in Sacramento performing, and a gentleman walks up to us and he says, "Hey," he says, "how would you like to go to Japan?" And we thought, "Oh man, get out of here," right? But it was real, and they flew us first class to Japan, you know, Nagoya, Tokyo, Ichinomiya, right? But the craziest thing about this is, as soon as we got back, we got a call from a Nancy Hayes agency in San Francisco and said, "How would you like to be in Michael Jackson's video, Cry?" Right? And we ended up in the video, right? And it was all just the perfect timing, right? And so, you know, these things, you know, the entertainer needs to just be ready for that. And so those are kind of entertainers that they're there, right? And they need to understand that they have to be at the top of their game. And so we teach too. We don't just, that's why we call it an artist cooperative. We teach each other. And in addition, we added an educational program called the Master Mentor Interactive Program. And so we send these entertainers to school, to colleges, and they perform and get feedback.
How do people get in touch with your agency?
Oh, all they got to do is just look up STLRentertainment.com, and they can find us on social media. We're STLR, right? And our website, STLRentertainment.com. And they can just pick up the phone and call us, because our number is listed right on there. We're not hiding our email or number. It's right there.
Nope, you were easy to find. Absolutely. Well, Theris, thank you for joining me. Listen, I see the 49ers logo behind you. I wish that it was the 49ers and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl this year, but it was not meant to be again. So there's always next year, but we always enjoy coming to California. You live in a very, very blessed place for sure. And I know you have your struggles with fires and different things like that, but we love spending time out there. I love your logo. I think it's top notch. Whoever designed that, they did a great job. And I personally look forward to working with you in the future. We're going to follow you and as we go through there. So thank you for being on today.
Yes, sir.
Well, baby,